We still do 7 NUFC Matters show a week for free. But if you want to help support NUFC Matters, then there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast and video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications bell so you don't miss a single show. If you want to help us financially, then you can join the channel using this button with the membership starting at $1.99 a month. Or you can drop us a donation in the chat using a super sticker. We're also looking for sponsors. If you'd like your brand advertised on the flyers for the show and featured during the ad break, then email John at nufcmatters.com to arrange today.
Hush now, city kids, gather round for other myths. Hush now, city kids. When it came to me after so long, I didn't have no choices in the streets where I was from. When I think about the pain, I didn't have no choices. I took what I had sworn. Hush now, city kids, gather round for urban myths. Hush now, city kids. But you know, the wouldn't let you have it any other way.
Good evening, welcome along to NUFC Matters. It is the Fans Forum on a Monday night, and breaking news as we hit the air was that Newcastle United's Carabao Cup tie with AFC Wimbledon will now take place at St James's Park on Tuesday the 1st of October. So both clubs agreed it was better to switch the game to St James's Park because obviously AFC Wimbledon's pitch and surrounding ground is covered in water, and there seems to be some kind of hole appeared at one end of the ground as well. Not a great state of affairs for the League Two side, and obviously from our perspective, the game has to be played. And glad they found some kind of resolve. Hopefully Wimbledon get a good financial kickback off that. I'm sure there'll be some kind of agreement with regards to tickets, etc. And check the club website, nufc.co.uk, I guess, for further updates, because if you've opted into the cup scheme, one would imagine that your ticket will be added to your season ticket. But just double check with everything. Plenty of time, of course, between now and the 1st of October. The draw, of course, will be made tomorrow night. So we will find out who we might get if we get through to the next round tomorrow night. So keep an eye on that. Want to dedicate this episode of NUFC Matters to one of Alan's family, who we sadly lost. Alan has been missing from the platform for the last couple of weeks, and many people saying why. Well, I've continued to send Alan the link, but I know he was going through a hard time at home. So we're dedicating this to your sister-in-law who you've lost, Alan, and our thoughts with you and the family at such a difficult time, mate.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So, on to the game at the weekend, George. It was coming. I think we all knew it. We've all tried to be positive on NUFC Matters over the course of the last few weeks, and it's been very, very difficult to do that, I think, for someone like me, but we've tried. Newcastle haven't been playing well. We've gone over it and over it and over it. We know that there's trouble at Mill. We know that there's been problems behind the scenes. The summer of discontent is now a distant memory, as we've got the autumn rain to contend with before the snow comes. Newcastle got beat by Fulham at the weekend, and we are all scratching our heads because Eddie changed it. He made a couple of changes, and on top of that, there seemed to be some players out there who were doing the unforgivable, which is not putting 100% in. Not sure what's wrong. I've seen people blaming the warm-up. Never heard of this in my life, by the way. People blaming a warm-up for a defeat. People blaming positional changes. People now saying that Sean Longstaff should have been playing. Why on earth said he dropped him? Yes, unbelievable after the kind of stick that poor lad's had over the last couple of years. Other people just saying that it's a simple formation, that the formation is past its sell-by date and Eddie should change the formation. I've seen everything. That we should be playing Trippier left back because we haven't got a left back. It's all because we didn't buy a right winger. It's because we bought a centre half and we're playing him at left back. I mean, take your pick of any amount of excuses I've seen on social media and heard from people over the course of the last couple of days, George. The bottom line is we weren't good enough. There was a lack of effort on some people's behalf. We can point all we want at certain players, but I get where Eddie's coming from. Collectively, you take the wins. Collectively, you take the defeats. But yeah, it was one to forget, George. And I've got to be honest. I'm glad we haven't got the Carabao Cup game tomorrow night. I'm happy that we've got a week. I'm happy we've got a week to sort this out now and try and get some kind of sense made of it all. And Eddie has a crack at it on the weekend against Man City. Tough opposition, I know, but out of the frying pan into the fire. I personally couldn't think of a better opposition to have to hopefully get the juices flowing. But yeah, what's your thoughts, George? I can't imagine we're going to have any positivity. Try and find a positive, George. I'm going to ask you.
Well, I'm if I can find something positive in a thing, I'll do that. And my mantra for the last couple of weeks has been, when we do click, somebody will get a shellacking. Well, the opposite of that is, if we don't click, we'll get a bloody shellacking. Thank God it wasn't Manchester City on Saturday, because if it had been, we would have got a shellacking. I have never been more disappointed in the Newcastle United side than I was in that side on Saturday. I've got to confess, it's a long time since I felt so upset. I mean, I was so bloody upset. I made me Christmas cake and I repaired the chair that nearly killed us rather than watch the replays. No, it was just desperate to find positives. Only one positive I can find, and that's that the one lad that did perform anything near well enough was Harvey Barnes. After that, from Pope right to the other side, not one of them came out with any credit whatsoever. Even some of my favourites, Shah was just a disgrace at times. And the biggest disgrace for me was Kieran Trippier. There were 2 or 3 times in that second half when he gave up the chase. He didn't actually keep running. Now, I've never seen that from Kieran Trippier. And there were others as well. Joe Linton was back to his Steve Bruce best. He really was absolutely appalling. One of the papers have been giving him 3s and 4s. He wouldn't have got a 3 out of me, I tell you. He was just appalling. Bruno wasn't much further in front either. Really was absolutely dreadful. And it's all right coming on as captain and giving an interview that says how disappointed he is. What the hell's he doing in the dressing room? Is he telling them in the dressing room how disappointed he is? And I hate being this negative. But it's difficult to find a good spot apart from a good goal. There were times when Fulham just overran with. I would only stay to 3, I don't know. Oddly, after Harvey Barnes' goal, there were a couple of times when we could have made it 2-2, and that would have been a travesty for Fulham, but we didn't. And that just about sums up where we are. We didn't even present a threat in front of goal. None of it clicked. It was just appalling. And as I say, for me, one of the worst games under Eddie Howe, most disappointing games anyway, since Eddie Howe became our manager. Now, bubbling beneath the surface of that, of course, we've had for a while this, even Eddie admitting that things haven't been entirely 100% in the dressing room. Well, on Saturday, I think you saw the evidence of a team that's got big problems, and unless we get them sorted out, we're in for some difficult weeks ahead. And it's sad to say it, but after Saturday, Champions League's just a bloody pipe dream at the moment. After that performance, and if Eddie Howe can pull that around, then he is a miracle worker, because there was nothing. And his after the match interview was one of the most difficult I've heard him give. But at least he was honest in saying how disappointed he was. What he said in the dressing room, God knows, he doesn't normally swear, but I bet he did in the dressing room after Saturday, because it was just abysmal. To think that
Phil Shuttleworth, I did say Wednesday, Phil. Yes, he says, Steve, there are Carabao Cup games on Wednesday. It's after the Liverpool game, Phil. That's when it is. So yes, yeah. Spenny, give us your views then, mate, on the match at the weekend.
Well, a lot of shit, wasn't it? I can't understand what the hell he was thinking of with that team again. The buck stops at the manager. Simple as that. Why replace Longstaff with Willock? They told two different players, and it just upsets the midfield straight away. Why didn't you not put Tonali in? He's near enough more like Longstaff than he is Willock. Can't understand why he's not playing Longstaff, Tonali all the time. And Isak, all he's doing is playing dominoes on the top of the field. There was no support for him or nothing. Changed things in the second half. Gordon went in the middle. Seemed as though he was getting a bit, but Gordon, like I said weeks ago, he's playing like he did play for Everton at the moment when he wanted to be away. It's a load of crap. And this bloke who's come in here, Bruce or whatever it is, has he changed all these dynamics? And is that where the problem is? Because this bloke's trying to say to Eddie Howe, we're trying to save our injuries this season because of what happened last season. And we stopped playing this intensity football. Is it him who's changed the idea and Eddie's got his hand side? But at the end of the day, Eddie Howe picks the team. He guides that team, and that team had no guidance of anything. Every game this season, we've been the second worst team on that pitch, second best to everything. We played a team in their pitch, when we beat them, we've been second best for every game we played this season. It's absolutely shocking. So whose fault is it? Whose fault is it? I blame. Well, I blame the manager for what he's picked on that pitch. I love Eddie F, what he's done for Newcastle, but the book's got to fall at him here, that team. Bruno absolutely toshed all season. Since he's getting that captain armband, he's been crap. Jolin, just in the first game, but after that, he's dived down. Gordon, terrible. The only person who's been playing this season is what George just said there is Harvey Barnes. And he's the only one who deserves a place in the next game for me, Harvey Barnes. He could be ending up our top scorer the way we're playing now. For me, we need big changes in this team. Big changes. And I'm disappointed the match isn't on tomorrow night, Steve, to be honest, because if we won, it would have been a bit of a confidence booster for the Man City game, in my eyes. Watch them games on Sunday. Forest, Brighton, Man City, Arsenal. Forest and Brighton are 10 times better than us the way they are playing. That's how bad we are.
All right, Spenny, you did say you were going to be angry, and rightly so. Terry, no idea who you are. I'm very naughty. When I mentioned the warm-ups, I did not blame it for the defeat. I was merely pointing out something I noticed. Terry, I've got no idea who you are, but I did hear a journalist, I'm not going to name the journalist, mention that on one of the podcasts that I've watched this afternoon. Yeah. So maybe you want to check out a few of those journalist podcasts and see who's very cheeky and very naughty, Terry, before you come on chucking allegations. Barry, give us your views then, please, on the match at the weekend. Obviously, disappointing 3-1 reverse at Fulham, and a place where we'd done quite well in recent years, and of course we were looking to make it 3 wins on the bounce in 2024 after the FA Cup win and the league win.
I mean, everything George and Spenny have said before me, I totally agree with. I think there's a couple of things that aren't right. One is to make this system that Eddie's got work, we've got to play high pressing football. We've got to play at speed. Both of those have dissipated. We across the team, and I don't want to single out anybody in particular, but there were so many players who either weren't tracking back. When they were running back, it looked like they were jogging. They weren't putting any effort into it. They just... I hate to say this about Newcastle team, but they don't look interested. There's very few of them who look as though they're actually putting effort. I totally agree with Spenny. The only person I would add to that who looks as though he's playing really well is Tonali, which, again, Harvey Barnes and Tonali are the two stars at the minute, so Tonali should be starting. I would drop Bruno straight away. I don't think we would miss him off recent performances, him or Joe Linton. I don't think either of them would be particularly missed. And I think at least with Tonali, he puts the effort in. I think he's playing out his skin. He's got I know they're going to say this thing about fitness and everything else, but I would rather see him playing from the start, and if we need to, bring him off towards the end of the game. There's something seriously not right there, and Benny's right again as well. Eddie's got to take a big chunk of criticism for the way they're playing, but so have the players. The players just don't look interested. There's very few of them are actually looking like they. You've got the fans busting a gut for them to do well, and I think we've been lucky up until now. The games that we've played and the results that we've got, we don't deserve the position we're in the league. If you look at performances, yes, I know you guys said it yesterday, Steve. You look at results, and we've got 10 points. Great, we're doing really well. But do we deserve the 10 points considering how we've played in those games? How many of those games have we been lucky to turn round for one reason or another and manage to get either 3 points or a point from? There's a few of the games where this could have happened before now. I think Fulham were by far the better side. I think Anderson in centre-half played well. I think Smith Rowe looked absolute class for them. I thought he had a really good game. And it could have been a lot worse. I'm hoping, for me, I totally agree with Spenny again. I was wishing they were playing the cup game because I thought it might be something that would give them a bit of confidence, get them started. He might try a few different players in different positions because it's a lower league team, and it might give them the kick on to do something. So I'm gutted in a way for that. I'm dreading the City game because he's really going to have to get them organised, because if they play like that against City, God knows. Like George says, there's going to be a shellacking, but I don't think it's us giving it out. I think it's going to be Man City turning it out. I just hope Howe uses the time wisely and sorts out whatever the issue is, whether it's behind the scenes, whether it's training, like the guys have said. That looks like part of it. He's got to earn his money. He's got to sort out whatever the issue is.
Okay. Ian, thoughts?
Hello, mate.
Hi, mate.
Yeah, rubbish. Just really disappointing. Lethargic would be probably the word that I would use for the performance. It looked like they weren't trying. The majority of players weren't trying. The few exceptions that everyone's mentioned. I think Gordon needs a special mention for he really does. He's not interested at the moment. I would drop him. I wouldn't have him on the bench. Honestly, it's just pathetic. He did that good run, and that was once in the game when he thought he had a chance of doing something, wasn't closing down. He was pulling out of tackles. He was wandering around. He wasn't tracking back. He was the polar opposite of what was brilliant about him. And I've gone on about it for a few weeks now, but there's no way he should be on that pitch. I've never seen Bruno be as bad as that. Big Joe was pretty much the way he's been all season. He was awful as well. We lost it in the midfield. And if you're talking about Eddie, I'm on the same page as everyone, obviously, about him not playing Tonali. I just don't understand how he's not playing. System, we're missing a number 6, which we were. If there's 3 number 6s in that team, there might be 3 that can play it, but there's not any of them that are playing it. There's the gap between the flat midfield and the forwards and the flat defence is massive. There's just holes everywhere, You
just have to look at Pope's record there, 100 goal shots on target, 100 shots on the goalkeeper. That's where the problem is.
Yeah. We're just letting players dropping into pockets and nobody closing down. It's like the Red Sea parting when they got the ball on the edge of their area and just going, go on, lads, have a run. Get yourself up there and have a pot shot. Absolute shite, to be honest. That's the only way I can describe it. And I agree with everything everyone else has said. I'll just be repeating what everyone else has said, but it just really disappointed. What's causing it? I think there's just disharmony at the club through and through. And then the players are being selfish. They're not putting the effort in. They don't deserve to wear the strip if they're not going to run and they're not going to track back and they're not going to do what they're meant to do. Then I wouldn't have them anywhere near the team. And, that's my thoughts on it. I know I love Gordon, and Gordon was fans' favourite for me last season and the season before, when he was playing well. His name was sang more than anybody. But he just does not look interested. I can't get away from how disappointed I've been with him. So that's all I've got to say on it, really.
Okay. All the teams we played have strengthened. We haven't really, have we been sussed? Same old, needs freshening up formation-wise. Similar comments coming in from other people as well as Davey. Alan, what's your thoughts on that game that we've just watched at the weekend?
Everything the lads have said is true. One point I would make is that I think the elephant in the room is the England manager job. I really seriously think that is hindering a lot of players' thoughts, even though with the way they're playing every game, like Spenny said, we've been second best this season. I've been delighted with the amount of points we've taken, but them 3 goals, every one was avoidable on Saturday. We could, like George said, could have got away with a point, but every goal was individually a mistake by us. You don't mind getting beat if a team like we did against Wolves score 2 cracking goals, then you hold your hands up and go, well done. But I do think that I think a lot of people don't realise how much upheaval we've had, lads. I mean, even the coaches have left. The lad, Michael Carrick's brother went to Middlesbrough. We've had coaches leaving, we've had Meardad, Amanda leaving, Ashworth. This time last year, all them people were in place and we're moving forward. We're like a rudderless ship. We're not seeing the wood from the trees here. And I think everybody's on a downer, including a lot of the fans. Yeah, we're all blaming the system now. Well, that system has got Eddie Howe the 4th most points over the last 3 years. Only Liverpool, Man City and Arsenal have got more points than Eddie Howe, and we've all praised them for it. So as far as the system's concerned, it's the players. The buck stops with the players, like Barry said. They're not tracking back in the intensity of the games. We've lost it all. And until that recovers, you cannot play the system he's playing, because then, like Ian says, we need a number 6 then, if we're going to play that way. Without any intensity moving forward between the midfields that we're down to, in my opinion, because I'm not tracking back to help the defence. And like Spenny said, 100 shots this season. When we came 4th, every team hardly got a sniff. And heaven forbid, the 6 teams we're playing next, 4 of them have been unbeaten this season, and 2 of them, Chelsea, are now flying, and Everton will be desperate to beat with. So at the next 6 games, lads, how many points do you think, in the chat as well, how many points do you think we'll get? It's going to be, this will decide with this season. I said we'd finish 3rd, and I was optimistic, even though everybody calls me Mr. Negativity behind that.
Right, I'm negativity around your son.
Sorry, do you know what I mean? It's like these 6 games will decide whether we're going to be mid-table. The horrible thing for me, lads, was most of the pundits down south were saying we're going to get beat on Saturday, and they were proven right, and it sticks in the craw when people outside the area are proven right. But these next 6 games, lads, Eddie Howe has got to earn his money now and get the players sorted, and behind the scenes as well. Just to add, like, see, before Darren, I would have liked to have seen last week and the week before. I know George says about Darren Eales, but I would like to have seen Mitchell and Eddie Howe together in a press conference saying, we've sorted it out, going forward, we're all as one, we know our boundaries. So the next window, the next two or 3 windows, we're all as one. And I think it would have killed the story dead about civil war, and Craig Hope wouldn't have had a story answer. But now, with them doing different interviews, it leaves that, are they actually talking? Are they actually on the same hymn sheet? And then everybody's like, oh, it's unrest behind the scenes. That could have been avoided last week, lads, to me, if they've both been in the press conference and just said, listen, we had a bad transfer window in the summer. It didn't go well, but we now know where we're heading. Going forward, we all want to be number 1. At the minute, there's coaches coming in, coaches leaving, and the whole shit has been cleared apart from Eddie Howe. And like I say, lads, the elephant in the room is the England manager's job. I want that sorted before I believe Eddie Howe's here for the long term.
More wood stuck on the bonfire at the weekend as well, inadvertently, by one of our erstwhile colleagues in the YouTube world, who was at the press conference for the women's team and asked Becky Langley had just spoken to Paul Mitchell recently, and of course Becky Langley had, which then of course prompts the conversation again. Everyone knows that he's not speaking to Eddie, but he's having running dialogue with Becky Langley from the women's team, which is great because we want to see the women's team do well as well. But the men's team is always going to be the priority for most supporters, and that's a disgrace. That and of course
Sorry, Steve. The
reason I keep pausing, George, is because you're on a slight delay, George. So it's very difficult when you jump in. But go on.
It's worse than that. When Mitchell was asked if he spoke to Eddie every day, he says Eddie was asked if he speaks to Mitchell. I haven't spoken to him since his interview. Now that's something for the chief executive to sort out, not sitting wherever he sits, and it's a mess. It's a mess.
Okay, Darren. Somebody said in the chat there we've had 5 comments, all negative. Time to bring Mr. Positivity in. Over to you, Darren.
Well, the positive is we're still 30 points of relegation, so that's what I'll say. Right. I do.
Just put the kettle on.
Eddie Howe's got some fault with the team he's picked, but they've got to look at the players. I do blame the players' performance. Nick Pope, he's got to be dropped next game. His second goal let in was a joke. On his right hand side, I think he's afraid to dive. On his left hand side, that's his dodgy side when he broke his arm. Shaw, Byrne didn't look interested. Well, no one looked. It was a bad performance all the way around. Bruno needs the captaincy off him completely because he's not leading. He's not a captain. It's obvious that. Trippier again didn't play well. Howie Bonds was the one who stood out. Scored a good goal. It was that bad. I watched the first half. I couldn't watch anymore. I took the dogs for a walk. And then I see the highlights after that. But I do think that the players are letting Eddie down. I think Eddie's trying his hardest, but again, just the transfer what's been a big failure. And we've all said why and what's happening. So yeah, we're kind of. I do believe Man City. I think we'll be up for Man City. I don't know why. I've got this feeling that we're going to turn up against them. We're going to give them a game. I don't mind getting beat if we give them a game. Yeah. So it'll be a hard game. Don't get us wrong, but if you watch how Arsenal played yesterday against Man City, crowd the boxes so they don't let you in. If we can do that against them on the counter attack with the quick players we've got a chance. So I've got a feel for that. I don't want to. I might be completely wrong. But I'm not going to be too negative tonight. We've got beat fair dues. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not the end of the world. We've got beat. We've got beat. People going on social media. Calm down, man. Just get a grip yourselves. You know what I mean? Just move on next game.
Yeah.
So that's what I'll say. See, I'm not going to be too negative tonight.
No, you have come across slightly more positive than I thought you would. But yeah, listen, the shoulder injury that Pope had, he didn't break his arm. He had a shoulder, dislocation. Second time he's had it to the arm. I think we've seen him. We've seen him come back, and I genuinely think that it'll be subconscious. It will be in his mind. He's not going to want to damage that arm again. I think that's only natural. Yeah, but I still think we could play. I think we could play him with one arm. He'd be better than any of the other keepers that we've got at the moment. I'm not being funny, but you can't discount those wonderful saves he made at Wolves, for example, last week.
Yeah.
Where he pulled off some world class saves, which literally won us the 3 points, as much as the 2 goals that were scored. So yeah, listen, I think the mistake we probably made, and I'm backing Pablo up, get well soon, son, he's sitting watching at home, was, we didn't go for like a Ramsdale or we didn't go for Trafford, maybe that's something we need to do in the next transfer window or next summer. We need to be looking at that, because it's quite clear we're not going to be playing, we're not going to be playing the Greek. We're not going to be playing Dubravka. Dubravka is going to be on his way out. And obviously John Ruddy was only coming in as a coach. So look, from our perspective, I think we're going to need a replacement coming in. For me, before we go to the ads, I've got to agree a lot of what Craig Hope said in the last 48 hours. And I just don't think Eddie knows his best team, which is what the Geordie Journo said. What Craig Hope has said is he doesn't know his midfield, doesn't know his best team. I think all of that is fair comment. And the fact that our midfield is misfiring and maybe Eddie doesn't know his best midfield combination is basically isolating Isaac up front with this formation. It's as simple as that. Is there a problem behind the scenes? I think we all know there is. I think we all can see there is. We can all hear what Eddie says. And, the fact that Becky Langley's got a relationship with Mitchell, which seems to be better than Eddie Howe's, is concerning for us all. I think
maybe the midfield, Steve. How can he not know his midfield when we had players there for 2 years to get it?
Yeah, but the problem is, Spenny, he's played the same. He's more or less played the same team for the first 2.5 years, hasn't he?
Last year he was out of injury, so we had a mid.
Well, what I mean is, what I should have said, I didn't phrase that properly. What I should have said was, when people were fit, he's always played the same old faces. We were going through this period of he's always played Longstaff. When Richie was here and Richie was fully fit, he always played Richie. And do you know what I mean? He always played Lascelles. He's always had players. And when people have gone off it about his team selection, that's when he just cracks on and does what he wants to do. But he's spoiled for choice in midfield. He's going to have in a couple of weeks time he's going to have Lewis Miley to contend with as well. And if he doesn't get any injuries, what is he going to do in that midfield? I really don't know what the situation is going to be. But I think that's half the problem. I've got to say I agree with a couple of the journalists. And just a quick one on Mark Byers asking this situation about. Who was it? It was one of the YouTubers anyway who was at the women's press conference. Any of us can do that. If we can't go to the Premier League press conferences, you have to be press accredited for that. But anyone covering Newcastle United in this kind of content on YouTube or whatever can apply for a press pass for the Women's Premier League, etc. So I could go to that, but I don't want to do that. Let them do what they want to do. Let them crack on. But that is the answer as to why people like that can, or people like us can go to, those kind of press conferences. It's as simple as that. Okay, halfway through the show, time for the ads. A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. You can find them at skipsandbins.com. Contact them, www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. A big thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. Their website, mrvickies.co.uk. Telephone 01768 210 102 or email info@mrvickies.co.uk. Thanks to our NUFC Matters fanzine sponsor, United Group Travel. Travel and Tourism Award winners 2024. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. All excursions included, 3-star plus quality hotels, no interchanges, a 2-crew driver and courier. It's a local family company, and you can find them at www.unitedgrouptravel.com or telephone 01670 632 460 or mobile 0791 666 4174. Big thanks to Media Arts for all the help with the technical side of things. And if you want to help support the channel, hit the subscribe button. We do 7 shows a week. Hit the thumb up under the video. That's the like button. It does help us grow. And click the share button. Help share to your social media. If you want to join the channel for as little as $1.99 a month, then hit the join button under this video today. We also help the food bank on this channel. Visit nufcfansfoodbank.co.uk. It takes you to the match day bucket where you can donate some money virtually. Some events for your diary in aid of Dementia Matters. The Long Sands will be reforming. be supported by Lilac Lane and the Chris Norris Band at the Cluny in Newcastle on Saturday, January the 4th, 2025. Tickets are £15 pre-sale from newcastlelegends.com. An evening with Peter Beardsley takes place at the Tyneside Irish Centre on the 10th of January 2025. Tickets available from newcastlelegends.com or from Woucher. And an evening with the Entertainers takes place on the 24th of January 2025. Telephone the box office 0844 249 1000 or visit the website tynetheatreandoperahouse.uk. And the Magpie Lounge at the Gateshead Leisure Centre is now open. 7 talk-ins for £99. Joe Allen will be hosting talk-ins with Lee Clark, John Anderson, Steve Howie, Darren Peacock, Supermac, Steve Watson, John Beresford, all between the dates of January and July. £99 for 7 talk-ins, newcastlelegends.com. And don't forget, you can subscribe to our NUFC Matters fanzine, £20 for 4 issues with all proceeds going to Dementia Matters. If you live overseas, it is £50 for 4 issues. To order now, go to newcastlelegends.com. And it's here. The fanzine has arrived today, and I'm very happy with it. I've got to say, I would like the print to be slightly bigger. I'm hoping you've all got glasses. Joking. It's not. It's just a couple of pages. I'm always going to be critical. I've done these for years. It needs to be slightly bigger on some of the articles. But other than that, 24 pages, really good quality. Big thanks to Penny Print for designing it. Big thanks to United Group Travel, who've got their advert on the back. I will now have to write the envelopes up and post them out. Managed to do 84 of them today. So they've gone out in the post. You'll get them in the next couple of days. I'll get the rest out this week and get them on the way. I didn't expect them to get them as early, so I'm slightly unprepared as far as envelopes and stuff are concerned. But I will write them out, get them in the post. So you will get them that little bit earlier. I think I said I was going to post them out on 1st of October. You're going to get them at least a week earlier than you expected. So that's great news. And we'll have to start cracking on the second one, which I'm hoping to get out for the 1st of November. So keep your eyes peeled at your letterbox, and they will be dropping onto your mat sooner rather than later. And don't forget, the Christmas book this year that would like you to all buy, because there will be a donation to Dementia Matters, is the Entertainers book, 1992 to 1997. If you're wanting somebody to buy you a present, get them onto our website, newcastlelegends.com. It's $13.99. It's been written by Will Scott. I've done 29 interviews with lots of people involved. Peter Beardsley, Keith Gillespie, Tino Asprey, Rob Lee, Lee Clark, Les Ferdinand. They're all in there. Sir John Hall, Derek Fazakli, Mark Hottiger, you name it. They're all involved in that book. They've all given their version of events, certain games, certain moments, certain goals, the reason they felt that they didn't win the league. So it's a jam-packed book from that period of time with some great photographs in it as well. Will's done a fantastic job on it. It comes out on the 30th of November. So newcastlelegends.com if you want to order your copy or get somebody to order one for Christmas. And talking of books, don't forget Derek Wright, 15th of November. That's at the Tyneside Irish Centre. We're doing the book launch for him. He didn't have one for his book launch. We've done it. And he is donating a £5 from each ticket to the to Dementia Matters as well. So that's at the Irish Centre. He's going to be interviewed by Joe Allen. Tickets newcastlelegends.com for that event as well. Okay, we've been talking about the result over the weekend, and in amongst all of that, we've been talking about where I felt the main issue lies, and I think it is midfield. And it was interesting because on the Amigos, I was trying to pick my best team and for this season. It's so difficult. See why Eddie Howe's struggling. So I'm going to go around the board. I'll start with you, Darren, first, because George normally starts things off. Let's go with you first. You don't have to wait. Give us your ideal midfield 3 and wingers for the game against Man City and moving forward. I want to know, if you're the manager, what is the team that you're going to stick with? Who would you like to play? But everyone, make out that everyone's fit. Think about who you've got available and what we've been playing with. We've had obviously just to run it by it, because I've caught you on the hop. You're the first one to do it. You've got Bruno, you've got Tonali, you've got Joe Linton, you've obviously got Longstaff in there. You've got Lewis Miley, who will be coming back from injury as well. Obviously, you've got Harvey Barnes, you've got Jacob Murphy, you've got Miggy Almiron, you've got Anthony Gordon. So that's essentially the main picks that you've got. Who's going to be your three, and who's going to be your winger?
I'll go for Joe Willock.
Joe Willock, I forgot about him as well. Yeah.
I'll go for Tonali, and I'll go for Bruno. I'll play Højbjerg on the right-hand side, going on the left-hand side. That'll be my starting team.
All right, okay. What about you then, Alan? What's your ideal setup in the middle?
It's difficult, really, because they haven't been functioning well. So I'd have Harvey Barnes on the left, Gordon on the right, but I would want them to swap over, to be honest, during the game. That's the thing. I think they can both do a job either side, so they're more pliable. I'd definitely have Tonali in now. I think he's ready. I think Tonali should be in. I think I would have Sean Longstaff in for this game, just simply for this game, simply because we need somebody in front of the defence, and I think he gives with energy that way, passing wise, disrupting the play.
Who's this Longstaff?
Yeah. You see, we need to find somebody that in the games like this, Dan, we're going to be under the cosh for about 70%.
Nah, but Longstaff doesn't do that, though.
We're going to be 70% of the game. We're going to be, but I definitely have, and he's up front, obviously. But I'd have Tonali, Longstaff, and it's going to have to be Bruno, even though he's playing poorly. That's what I would have.
Okay. It shows you how difficult it is. Ian?
It is, Steve, because I'm not functioning well, to be honest. You could pick any of them, but Tonali should come in for this game, in my opinion.
All right. Ian?
So I'm just going to go against everything I've said before and say, let's give them all the chance. Last chance saloon. You want your best players out there against City. Massive rocket up their arse. Everyone gets a good kick in the bollocks. And I would just go with Bruno. I'd go with Bruno and Tonali playing as a two. Stick Joe in front of him, just being a menace, doing whatever he wants to do. Gordon on the right, Barnes on the left. And I would make sure that the two that they're not in a flat three. I would play 4-2-3-1, which I've said for a long, long time. Is like it shows up them holes in the between the lines for me. But that's what I'd do. But whether he sticks with the flat three and top three, I would play the best players. But if they don't pull the finger out, the chances of us winning in the form that we're in with the fitness levels, it doesn't look like we're fit even really now, or a lot of players. But you have to put them on the park for me, even though it does go against everything I've just said before. But that's what I'd do.
All right, Barry?
It's really hard, isn't it? You're stuck between the two. You're stuck between the team that if they're all up to form, who you would pick, and the team that looking at how they're playing. I think the right and the left side wingers are easy. I would still have Gordon and Barnes. I agree. I would possibly play Barnes on the left hand side. I think Barnes is the one who's playing out his skin, and I do think Gordon can play better on both sides than Barnes can. Barnes sometimes struggles on the right hand side, so I would do it that way around. It's a bloody Tonali's got to play. Tonali, it's the other two choices, which normally would be the two Brazilians because they're two of the best players we've got, but they're both playing shite. No matter which way you look at it, they're not on form. Yeah. I mean, you mentioned it there, Steve, that young Miley might be back. I would love to see Miley back in the team, but there's no way in hell Eddie's going to put him in for his first game back against Man City, or I cannot see
not see him until December.
He's not going to be fit.
No.
Yeah, he's not going to be fit until it's a little bit further down the line. But he's back on grass, but he's a long way off playing there, so it wouldn't be this weekend.
Jeez.
Gonna upset somebody, Barry.
It's just I possibly agree with what Darren said, that you give them the last chance. You want your best players out there against City, which unfortunately is going to have to be the two Brazilians alongside Tonali. But they won't get in the team because of form. The thing is, Darren, who else do you pick? You know what I mean? I think
I'm a big Joe Willock fan.
I think Willock is
more direct. He's more direct than Joe Longstaff.
I would rather have Willock coming off the bench the way he's been playing recently.
I would.
Willock would make a huge deal coming off the bench.
The way Joe Linton's been playing, he's been absolutely the worst Newcastle player I've started seeing. He's done nothing at all.
But he did his first game he played well. Since then he's been poor.
It's why are they underperforming? That's the issue. I'll go with that. Steve. You'll have the two.
All right.
You'll have the two Brazilians and Tonali in the middle.
All right, Spenny.
Pretty easy for me. Tonali, Bruno, Gordon in the middle, Willock on the left, and Barnes on the right.
Ooh.
Okay, different formation again. And George?
Good though.
Gordon and Barnes on the wings and make sure that they have the freedom to swap when they want to. In midfield, fairly controversial, but I don't care. Longstaff, Tonali, and Willock. And, people have a go at Longstaff. The Premier League stats are out. Which midfielder runs the most in the Premier League at the moment? Sean Longstaff.
I wonder whether he dropped Longstaff to prove a point. I really do. I'm not, the way things are going, it's possible. Did he drop him, for that reason? Or was there a problem? I didn't hear any interviews with Eddie after the game which suggested that Longstaff was injured. He was on the bench, so he must have been fit to play. I just found it really strange that suddenly, after praising him this week, as he's done multiple occasions, we suddenly found him on the bench. So I don't know. Or was it simply, nothing controversial? Was it simply just because he wanted to throw a spanner in Fulham's works, and they were expecting to see Longstaff, and he thought Willock was going to do a job? Fair play to where he put his hands up at the end, took responsibility for the defeat, and said that playing Joe Willock was probably the wrong move for him. So it could just be as simple as that. Next question, then, George, and I'll give you it first because there is lots of question marks over the back four at the minute. We accept we can only really play Dan Burn at centre-half at the moment because of the injuries to Lascelles and Botman. Fabian Schär and him have played together on numerous occasions and done quite well at the start of the season, it has to be said. It's the full-backs which have got people's heads scratching. I've already said this season that I would much prefer just to leave Livramento at right-back and Lewis Hall at left-back and go with that this season. That's what we've gone with. That's our choice. That's what we're going to do unless there's injuries. But he's changing it constantly. So, some people, we've already heard people saying that they will play Trippier at left back. I've heard journalists say that today. Trippier at left back because he played well there for England. But obviously, we've brought in Lloyd Kelly, who's supposed to be able to play in that position. Didn't look as convincing on Saturday and was subbed accordingly. So, what's your back four, George? What is your ideal back four at this moment in time?
Well, to begin with, my view is that when Eddie picked the team at the weekend, when he missed Hall and Livramento, that was the start of the loss for me. That's who the fullback should be for me. And if he's going to be constantly disheartening the younger ones, how the hell are they ever going to be any good for our first team? I just don't read that at all. That's a bit of Eddie I don't hang up on. And in centre back, well, Lloyd Kelly has demonstrated in the times he's been on, he's not a left back. That means we've got another centre half who Eddie thinks is a left back, which is what he thinks about Dan Burn. Burn and Schär play quite well together, but I think that Kelly has the physicality to take one of those places, and I think I might be willing to risk Shaw and Kelly in the middle, and rest Dan Burn.
Yeah.
Interesting. Controversial from Mark Byers. He says play target left back. He's a specialist in that position. I've never understood the hate he gets. He was superb in the first 18 months. One of my favourite players, Mark, I've got to be honest. Ken Robinson says back four for him would be Tino, Shaw, Kelly and Hall. So he's going with
That's fine.
George.
That's mine. That's mine as well, Steve.
Trippier left back, Shaw and Kelly and Tony, says Anthony Amers. Interesting. Yeah. Go on then. Spenny, your back four?
Trippier, Scar, Kelly, and Lewis Hall.
Okay. Barry.
I want to see them. I do think. Don't get us wrong. I do think Hall's possibly the future of that position at left back. But Eddie doesn't seem convinced. Hall doesn't look convinced in himself when he plays there. I think it's going to take time to get him up to speed. So for me, I would go Tino, Shaw. I cannot not pick Dan Burn. I think he's a much better player than Kelly, personally. And I would have Trips on the left hand side.
Okay, Ian.
Yeah, I'd go Tino, Share, probably Dan Burn. But I am tempted by Kelly because
that's
a lot quicker, isn't he? I'm really tempted to just say, let's get him in. He's physical, which Dan Burn is as well, but he's fast as well. He's quick for a centre back, isn't he? But I'm going to stick with for this game anyway. I'm going to stick with Burn and Hall.
All right, just remind us what yours was, Alan.
It's the same as George's. I'd go Tino, Shaw, Kelly, and Lewis Hall because they're the future lads. Kelly's younger than Burn, and you've got to have a steady back four, and that's the four I would pick.
You don't change your back four, you never do. And he's changed his back four a lot of times. That's the problem as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Darren?
Tino, Shaw, Kelly, and Target.
Oh, so you go for Target, yeah?
I would.
I just think for a Target, Darren, he's not match fit. That's the only reason. He won't be match fit.
He's been on the bench. Alan, he's been on the bench. He's bringing his Hall on. Do you know what I mean? I just think he needs to chat. He's done nothing wrong. I feel sorry for the lad. He's done nothing wrong.
Yeah.
That's all.
Good point,
I think
apart from be injured. That's all.
I know, but he's been on the bench. Mm-hmm. And I think when he first come, he was a godsend, wasn't he? He was going to the wing. Now he played Dan Burn, but I played Roy Kelly. He's a bit faster than Dan Burn. I'm not a fan of Dan Burn, as you know. Not against Dan Burn, but I'll play Target and I'll play Kelly. That's my starting team on Saturday.
Okay, before we finish, we're going to have a look at the Wimbledon Cup game. But seeing as though that's now been moved, we're going to talk about the Man City game. George will have to sit this one out because he'll be doing it later in the week. So Darren, we'll come to you. Just give us your view of the forthcoming game against Man City. Can Newcastle get something out of that game?
I'm going to draw 1-1.
Okay, 1-1 for Darren. What about you, Alan? Are you as optimistic?
Probably not, lads. If I'm being positive, 2-1 defeat, negative 3-1. I just think the good thing about it, lads, the positive thing I think of is we've scored a goal in the last 23 of the last 24 Premier League games. That's a positive we've got to hang on to. If we start well, but I'd rather we score a last-minute winner because if we score early doors, there'll be a siege. We're only going to have, in my eyes, 30% possession all game because it'll be like the Arsenal Man City game for majority. That's how I visit the game will be, and that's why I want Sean Longstaff there and behind protecting the defence. But 2-1 Man City.
2-1 Man City. Okay, Ian?
If we play like we did last week, we'll get absolutely spanked. It'll be a cricket score, but I don't think we will. I'm going to be ultra positive and say 2-2. Desmond.
Desmond 2-2. Anthony Emmers has gone 2-1 to the Town. Jackie Nicholson says 3-1 City, unfortunately, but I hope I'm wrong. 4-0 defeat, says Paul. Certainly not looking on the optimistic side of things. Rodri will be a big miss. He's out for the rest of the season, Tim, so you are right. And Dean says, Man City, you're a wounded animal coming to St James's Park. David McLeod's going for a 1-0 and a reverse penman for Mark Byers. Marcus is hoping for a draw. Tom Dixon says it's too early for my prediction. All right, that's up to you, Tom. Barry, it's not too early for yours. What's your prediction?
I'm hoping that the way they played at the weekend and how having a full week to get them motivated, there'll be a change, that he'll get something going. I'm going to agree with Darren. I'm not Darren. Sorry, I'm going with Ian. I'm going to be a 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw for you as well. Okay, then Spenny, give us your prediction for the match of the weekend. George and I will make ours later in the week.
Rodri is a big miss for Manchester City. Definitely a big miss. I think we can take them. I think we'll go 2-1. I think we'll win 2-1 because I'll never ever see Newcastle get beat. I think we'll win 2-1. The crowd we've got the crowd there, and we'll get back to basics what we were last season and play them off the park. We'll win 2-1. Come on, lads.
Great stuff. A positive end to not a too negative show. Thanks to Darren, Alan, to Ian, to Barry, to Spenny, and to George. Thanks to you for watching. Thanks to the moderators. We have 650 tuned in tonight, 375 of you watching on YouTube, which means the rest of you are watching on Twitter. Please jump onto YouTube, search NUFC Matters, hit the subscribe button. We do 7 shows a week. I'm back tomorrow night with Joe Allen at 6 o'clock. Take care.
Thanks very much.